What is going on, ladies and gentlemen? This is going to be an introductory video to me, who I am, what I do, what I like to do, what I teach, and basically everything about me and my journey and just whatever else you can think of, okay? So, without further ado, okay, my name is Ryan. People know me as Dodgy, and I have officially made over 6 figures in trading. I've not made 7 figures yet, okay? That will be a video for another time. And I want to start off this video by telling you something very interesting, okay? Um, I came into the space about 2018-ish, 2019. It was all when like the GME and AMC thing were happening, and I'll explain that journey in a second. But that's when I kind of came in the space, and I always thought that I was gonna make millions of trading, and I was wrong. Okay, it is not. That's like a 10-year plus journey. Okay, I've not made a million trading yet. Okay, I'm gonna be completely honest. Someday though, someday I want to start risking like 10K per trade. Like by the time I'm 20, I'm 23 right now, so I'm 20. By the time I'm 24, and I want to be risking 100K per trade by the time I'm 30. That would be cool. But let's just get started with like how I got into the space, my journey and everything. And just know I'm not some idiot. I have a high IQ. I was always school smart, which doesn't really mean anything in trading, but just know like I know what I'm doing. I know what I'm talking about. And if you don't believe me, then you can just click off this video because I honestly don't care. But I am 23 years old. I've made over 6 figures in trading, and I want to start off by saying I have made more money selling my live trading. Okay, so I just want to be fully transparent about that. I do make more money like with affiliates and selling that stuff. And I never thought that I would make more money than that. Like when I used to start, come in the space, I'm like, oh, all these guys are probably making bank trading. And I actually kind of realized that a lot of people make more money out there like courses. I don't actually have a course per se. I have like a live trading program and then like a separate mentorship. Um, but I always used to think like, oh, I'm gonna make a million trading. That's what everyone does, and that's just wrong. Okay, now can you still make a living off trading? 100%. I can make a living off trading easily right now. Okay, I could probably make a living off trading twice a week if I want to. Which that's the important part. That's why a lot of people are here. And I don't want to be that guru who says, oh yeah, I make more off trading than my course and stuff. I didn't, and I never knew I was gonna blow up on social media. I never knew I was gonna have all these followers, and I started to make a lot of money. Guys like TJR, they're making 10 times more off of selling stuff. Anyone you can think of, like I know Umar still makes a lot of money trading, but he makes more money off other stuff. Like, dude, there's so many people in the space, almost everyone you can think of, Casper, and like that's fine. They're still profitable, and I'm still profitable. But I think it's important to be transparent about that before I make a video like this, because I don't want to be lying to you guys, if that makes sense. But let's just get into it. So I'm 23 years old, and I got into the space 2019. And I remember I was in high school, and I think I was in lunch, and someone's like, "Yo, GME and AMC are going up," and I'm like, what's up with that?" Like, I'm like, "What is that, stocks?" And they're like, "Yeah," like, so I check it out, and I saw it all over the news, and I was just intrigued. I'm like, I saw these guys making like millions of dollars on trading, and this is like why I thought you could easily make millions off trading, right? When that short squeeze was happening for GME, and basically for anyone who doesn't know, I'm gonna go to the chart real quick. Basically, for anyone who know, back in like 2019, GME's and GameStop had a giant like short squeeze. So if I just show you my chart real quick, had a giant short squeeze way back in the day, like right here. Okay, and it went to like $400 a share. I think it's split since then, but this was in January 2021, and I like started looking at this stuff in like 19, and I was like on and off. Where I started watching videos like, oh, how do I make money online? And I started day trading, whatever, and everyone was talking about GME and AMC, like pumping and um, leading up to 2021, leading up to COVID. So that kind of got my interest more. Now, I did start watching money, like how to make money on YouTube when I was like 16, and I'm 23 now. So that was probably what, 2018 or 19. But I never really I never really stuck with it. Okay. So when I started watching those videos, I never really stuck with like just watching it. Like I would watch it for like a month and watch like how to day trade, and then I watch like how to drop ship, all this crap, and then I'd go off for like a month or two, hang out with my friends, didn't worry about it, and then I'd watch it again. And by the time I was turning 18, That's when the GME AMC thing happened. And I'm like, bro, I need to lock in. That was my thought. I need to lock in because I knew I was graduating high school and going to college soon, and then I was like, okay, I only have 4 more years left to figure out what I want to do, and I do not want to work a 9 to 5. Like I just knew it, and there was something in my brain that I knew that from when I was very young. I wasn't gonna be doing, working for someone. I always said I wanted to be a lawyer, I wanted to be a doctor, but I wanted to be a PA. I actually wanted to be a physician's assistant for a while, and something in my brain is like, I want to be these things, but I really don't, if that makes sense. Like I wanted to find another way out. And, trading definitely found that. And, I have like 10 streams of income now. It's not just trading, it's trading, real estate, affiliates. I have my live trading. I've started to buy businesses I have really good ROI on. I do some private lending now. What else do I do? I do these like partnerships and collabs with some people. Has nothing to do with trading. I just kind of like it's separate from trading. I definitely probably have two more I can't think of right now, but I have a lot of income now. And when I first started, it was just trading. That was it. And I remember my first ever trade I took was AMC. I think I got in like at like $10 and it went to like 20 and I was out. I remember it was my senior year I was in lunch and I remember and I invested in Cash App. That's the even funnier part. I literally bought this thing on Cash App. I did not know how to read a chart at that point. Like I kind of knew candlesticks for it, but I didn't know how to read them, and I would just use line charts. So I bought it on Cash App like a couple days ago. I kept watching it, and then one day checked during lunch, and we were running, and I sold it like $20. And that's the day I think we ran. I think there was 77. I think we topped the 77 if I remember correctly. And everyone's like, "Oh, GME pump, so AMC is too," and that's why I bought the AMC because I wanted to catch the move. And I only put like a couple $100 in. Like that was a lot of money to me at the time. I used to work a job as a dishwasher, so that was a lot of money to me. And I made like I don't know, like 400. I think I turned into like $500. And to me at the time, I'm like, holy shit! Like this is absolutely insane. Like I think that was like the first glimpse of light where I'm like, bro, I cannot do anything but day trading. That was the first ever time where I'm like, holy shit, I just made money on a screen. And it almost felt fake to me. And then I'm like, dude, I have to make this work. I just have to. Like, it was just incredible to me. And if you guys look at the AMC chart too, I don't know if they did a stock split since I got in, but let's see. Did we top it? It was, oh wait, it went higher than 77. Oh, they probably did a reverse split. But yeah, at the time, I think it was this day. It was definitely May because I was in lunch and it was the end of the year. And I think I got in like, it was one of these candles in the weekly and I basically just sold for like 100%. I didn't get in options. I didn't get anything else. It was all just shares. Okay. And, it's just crazy, dude, because that was the first time where I'm like, I just made this money online. Like, how can I do anything else if I just made this money online? And I literally, like, to me, I was worked as a dishwasher. I got minimum wage. I got like $11 per hour. And I'm like, how can I go back to dishwashing if I just made $200 and like by doing nothing, basically, essentially. And that was really like the mindset shift for me. I think that was like how like in history class I always used to talk about like the turning point. That was a turning point for me, 100%. And we ended up graduating that year. I went to college, and the funny thing is this: I started like after the AMC and GME thing, I realized I'm like, okay, this is not normal. I saw it on the news, and I'm like, this is not normal because everyone was like, oh yeah, BBBY is gonna short squeeze now, or the what is it called, BlackBerry, or BB, and then BB. I think Bed Bath and Beyond was another one, and they just never. And I tried getting them, they never pumped. Okay, so it's kind of funny because I figured out, okay, this is not normal. How do I actually learn how to trade for real? That's when I got into my journey of penny stocks. Started looking at my YouTube how to trade stocks, and I think one of the recommended videos were penny stocks. Now, funny enough, I was profitable off the rip from trading penny stocks for probably like 3-4 months. I was literally just straight up profitable. Like, it wasn't that hard. I'd follow this guy named, I used to follow mini trades on Twitter. Maple Stacks, I think, was one of them, but I don't really think he'd trade penny stocks. Maple Stacks mini trades. This guy named Flooded, which I sometimes talk to still. I followed all these guys. Oh wait, and the Atlas crew. Atlas was a big thing. They're all getting legal stuff against them now because they pumped and dumped. But I remember I used to look at the top volume of gainers that morning, and those are the ones I traded. Now penny stocks in 2024 and 2025, dude, the highest penny stock like pre-market's not even up more than 20%. Like they're dead now. Like there was a time for like 6 months where penny stocks used to be popping, like everyone would make money on them. Usually the highest volume gainers at pre-market would just go up all day. So like those are the ones I bought. And I remember there was like PHUN fun, I think. I remember it was my best trade. I made like 250% off of literal shares, not even options, literal shares, because I didn't know what options were at the time. And I'm like, okay, this is manageable. I wanted to quit dishwashing, but I didn't quit yet. I worked at like a little hometown restaurant. I loved it. Okay, it was really cool. And I got all my friends to work there. And I was actually kind of happy doing that. Like, I wasn't mad I was working. Like, that wasn't like a thing where I'm like, oh yeah, I dread going to work. Like, I didn't mind going to work. I made salads, made pizzas. I obviously upgraded from being a dishwasher for the first couple of years. And it wasn't bad. And I think this is where a lot of people like they're missing like the happiness in their life after they start making money trading because they weren't happy before. Like I was happy before. So whether I trade or not, I was already happy before. So I'm still happy now, if that makes sense. A lot of people complain like, oh yeah, I'm rich, but I'm not happy. I thought this was supposed to make me happy. It's not. Okay. Being rich isn't going to make you happy. It's just going to make you feel more free, but it doesn't make you happy. Like I was already like happy and content before. And like, I, now I'm still happy now. I never changed, right? All I have is more freedom. That's basically it. But if I had to go back to the dishwashing job right now and I couldn't trade, I'd do the same thing over again. I'd hire all my friends, play music, have a good time, go home, repeat, right? It's just like I have a really good source of happiness and I'm super grateful to God for that. I'm a Christian. Obviously I have a cross necklace on here. So yeah, that's kind of that. Now another thing is this. That's when I discovered options. And man, oh man, options were not for me. It was like 2021. I traded penny stocks like early 2021. And then I think I got an options 2021 too. And I got smoked, dude. I got smoked. I'll never forget the one day I was in this group chat. It was called Stock Ops. And we're a big group of guys. There was like 12 of us. We're all trying to make it as a trader. We all thought, okay, this is gonna be easy, whatever. And we all talked every day. And I remember one day I followed one of the guys' signals in Stock Ops. I followed one of their plays, and we went down. It was like an EMA play because I used to use like EMAs. It went a little below, and I cut, and I full ported it. I don't know what I was thinking. I over leveraged, and I just got stopped, and I lost like $300 in like not even 5 minutes. I made a video. It's like, guys, I just lost $500 in like 30 minutes, whatever, or 5 minutes, blah blah blah. I was pissed. I didn't know what to do. I sent it to them, and one of them goes, "I'm gonna save this in like 3 years and show you this." And this is you're gonna look back at this and laugh. And sure enough, he was right. I look back at it now and I laugh. But man, dude, that was like the most like dreadful day ever. I literally I don't know what I was in. I think it was SPY. I remember one time I made a Twitter tweet, right? And I was in a bunch of like signal services and discords and options and stuff. And I realized some people are only trading SPY every day. So I made a tweet and I'm like, is it true that people only trade SPY every day? Because I always thought when you went to the stock market, like I would trade a bunch of different things. Like Tesla and Q, like everything. I just look at everything. And one day I figured out, wait a minute, there's people that only trade SPY. So I made that tweet, and then ever since then, I started only trading SPY, which is ES, just so you guys know. Okay. And I did better in that than I did like trading normal options like Tesla and Nvidia and all that. But I still lost money in SPY. Okay. I still lost money. I wasn't consistent. Usually I was trading EMAs and it wasn't bad, but like I would be profitable one day, profitable next day, profitable, and then I'd tilt like that later that week and the next week, and then I'd lose everything. And I feel like I never lost money because of strategy. I always blame the strategy, and I always used to say like, oh yeah, this sucks, EMA suck. They really don't. You just have to know how to use them. And at the end of the day, if your psychology is good, you can use any strategy you want. And that was something I always blamed, and I definitely would take that back now. Like I always said in my boot camp, like, oh, don't use this. You can. Is there better? Oh, for sure. ICT is 100 times better. But I always used to blame the strategy, and now looking back, I'd more blame my psychology, if that makes sense. So yeah, started trading options, lost a lot of money. I only lost like 4K. Like, but to me, that was a lot of money, dude, because it took me like, what? Probably took me like 4 or 5 months to make 4K, you know? It literally, I can't believe that. It took me 4 months to make 4K. I can make that in a day now. That's crazy, dude. Like, that's just surreal how far I've come. Okay, and that's trading, not anything else. That's like trading, not affiliates, not courses, not anything. Like, I can generally make 4K in a day trading very easily now. And to me, like, that's just, dude, that's just unreal. And yeah, I used to be in a signal service. I remember I was in this one Discord called something Kingdom or something, and I used just to copy all their alerts, and I would take wins, I would take losses, and honestly, I started to become profitable because I joined so many signal services and I tried so many different trades. I remember there was this one trade I took. It was a swing trade. It was my first time ever holding it overnight. Someone alerted it. I took it, and bro, I could not sleep that night. Now the next morning it was up. I was up like 50%. So I sold because I was like, damn, like I'm up like 50%. This is crazy. I've never been up 50% on option before because I was horrible options. And it was like I remember it was like a 1 DTE or a weekly contract, I mean. And I was like freaking out, and I sold. And we went up like 300% the next day. And I just sold because like I was just like, what's the word? I was just like low key kind of emotional because I had like a losing trauma of losing an option so much. And then I started joining these signal services where I would be up like 20-30% and I'd sell every time because I would lose on options before that. Like, and I had like this losing PTSD. And that was probably the worst thing that ever happened to me. I would lose so much that every single time I took a win, I'd sell early. That's what happened, like, because I had losing PTSD. And I'm not going to lie, that was the biggest thing that absolutely effed my trading up. That effed my whole journey up. It effed me up because I used to lose so much where it really made me profitable in way more time than I feel like I should have been profitable in because of that. Okay. And for those struggling with, okay, you just had a strategy, it lost like every time, and now you're actually trading like my strategy or you're trading another strategy that wins more, you're probably in the same boat. You're probably selling for like 10 points. And I don't blame you. Like that used to be me too. But yeah, that was an interesting journey. And I eventually got over the signal services and I'm like, I'm going to start my own free Discord, right? Every guru does this. They're going to start their own free Discord and then they make it paid. Now, I started my own free Discord. I had no intentions of making it paid. I was like, okay, I'm not making this paid. It's going to be free. I'm not fake. I'm like barely even profitable. I started to get like a little profitable at that point, but I was barely even profitable. And I was only somewhat profitable because I started taking people's signals. Okay. And this is where I started to do bad again. I started to do bad, wasn't taking signals anymore. And I'm like, dude, what is going on? And then I started learning the strat. If anyone doesn't know what the strat is, you can look it up on YouTube. It's basically like this candle like kind of pattern. And this is like the new hype strategy all over Twitter. And I'm like, oh, this looks cool. I'm gonna learn the strat. And basically there was like a inside candle, outside candle, broadening formation, all this bunch of jazz or whatever. And I was like, okay, this is gonna make me profitable. And it low key like kind of did, but it also didn't because I still had the losing trauma. So my winners were just smaller than my losers pretty much. That's all it was. But I was more profitable, if that makes sense. Okay, and then this is where it gets interesting. I'm talking to this guy. His name is DC, and DC, I still talk to him this day. He's a very smart dude. He's in his 50s. He's taught me more about life than anyone I've ever met online. Like, and I mean, not even trading, like business and real estate and just, how to, how to present myself online, stuff like that. And a really good guy. I used to talk to him all the time, and I still do. One day we start chatting and he's like trying to help me with the strat because I'm like, oh, can anyone help me? And he DMs me immediately. He's like, this is some random dude. And at this time I probably like 3,000 followers on Twitter because I was journaling my my journey out, or I was journaling my journey of unprofitability. I'm like, I'm unprofitable. I'm gonna start Twitter anyways, post some trade ideas, post whatever, and some of them hit, but I was still unprofitable. And I made it very clear that was my journal, and people started to follow me, which I did not expect that. Like, I didn't think people were actually gonna follow me. That was why. That's like, I didn't think I was gonna get 60,000 subscribers on YouTube. I never went in with that intention. I was just passionate about making content because I used to be a semi-professional Fortnite player and I used to make Fortnite content all the time. And I honestly just like making content. And I think that's the difference between me and a lot of these other guys who don't make it in the content creation world and like teaching on YouTube, is because they come into this space like, oh, I'm going to teach and sell a course, and I'm going to make money from this course and be rich. I think the reason I do so well, when I get followers and people, the reason people listen to me is because that's not ever why I did it. Like, I didn't come in the space like, oh yeah, make a free Discord, sell a course, boom, I'm rich. People now, that's all they do. I generally came in to like, this is going to be fun. I'm going to make content, share some trade ideas, open up a trading community, meet all these other really cool people online that have the same mindset as me, that want to make trading money or want to make money trading as well. Like, where else would I do that? So that's kind of the idea that I got. Like, I never did it to like, sell anything. I literally just did it because I was trying to become profitable trading, and like, I knew it was the only place to like connect with like-minded individuals, because none of my friends traded, So I did that and started a free community, and it actually kind of got pretty big. I got like 1,000 Discord members because it was for free, and I already had like 3,000 on Twitter. So everyone just joined. I do like these Sunday calls, and I'd be like, okay, here's what I'm looking for. I was trading the strat, whatever. And I kind of did that for a while. It was all for free. I didn't sell anything. I didn't have any affiliate codes. I didn't have anything. And it started like growing more and more because people in the community just like kind of just started talking to each other, and we'd make friendships. I got this group of friends, this guy named Butters. Okay, his name's Will, but he's popping on TikTok now. He live streams on TikTok. And I'd be friends with Will and all these other guys. And I think out of everyone I made friends with in the OG world, I think only like 3 out of like 20 of them actually made it. Will, Keyflow, if you guys know him, and Decrypt Options. He's pretty big on Instagram. I don't really know anyone else in my original friend group that made it out, which is not surprising because statistically, like less than 5% of people make it, like if they're going to do something like this. And, the Discord's going well, it's growing, whatever. And that same guy, DC, one day he randomly DMs me. He's like, yo, you should watch this. He's making it for his daughter, some mentorship. And it was the first episode of the 2022 mentorship. And I think only like 2 episodes are out at that point. Okay. So I start watching it. And I'm like, what the hell is this guy talking about? He was ranting. And I literally was just watching it out of full boredom. And I almost clicked off the video until he literally said this. He goes, I want you to go to your charts right now, look at when the highs ran, and see when a fair value gets formed, and see what happens, and then get back to me. So right before I click the video, I'm like, okay, this guy's full of shit. I go to the chart, and sure enough, we swept the buy side that day. We swept some high, and then we got like an inverse down or something, probably 2022 model. I don't know what it was at the time. It was just whatever he said to do. And it wasn't an inverse because he didn't teach inverses in that video, but there was some fair value gap down, and I was like, wait a minute. Like, this guy, this old man who just ranted my ear off for 20 minutes, who I thought was a fraud, just told me something. And I started going through the chart, and I'm just scanning. I'm like, holy shit. Like, that was my reaction. I'm like, this works. And like, I was so happy. I'm like, ICT may have just changed my life, because I wasn't really that profitable at the time. That's the thing. Like, I was like kind of break even. And I still have this free community. And I'm like, wait a minute, this guy's onto something. And man, I was obsessed with backtesting in 2022. I would backtest every night. Every single night I wasn't working. I wasn't doing the dishwashing job. I would go to my dishwashing job. I would watch ICT videos at my dishwashing job, put in my headphones. I don't think he did spaces at the time. That was like a year later in 2023. But I remember I used to listen to his YouTube videos in my ear, and I'm like, damn, dude, this is going to change my life. And I started backtesting, and that's where I started to become profitable. Because I already kind of had the psychology part down from before and losing so much money and trading options. I just needed to become profitable with ICT and, get a better strategy. That was my problem at the time. And man, I was grinding his videos forever, dude. Forever. I don't know. I watched hours and hours of ICT. And I think that's what a lot the new guys miss today. They just, dude, I had like a certain drive in me that like if I told someone on my Discord, I'm like, go watch ICT 2022 much trip. If someone told me that in 2022 when I was trying to become profitable, I would have watched it 5 times. Like that's how crazy I was about it because it was like I knew how the algorithm worked, dude. Like this guy was showing me the algorithm and I just figured out how it worked. Obviously thanks to him, I made over 6 figures in trading now, which is kind of a cool achievement because I'm only 23, right? And a 6 figure salary is not easy, especially out of college. So I was super, it was just, oh my God, I was so grateful and so happy that the DC sent me his video. And I wasn't even going to watch it. I was just bored. Like, I was like, oh, I'm fully focused on the strat, whatever. So I was just bored and just watched it. So, thanks and shout out to DC for letting me watch that. And this is where it gets interesting. I start trading the 2022 model, whatever, blah, blah. And then DC, he tells me to do another thing. He sends me footprint charts. For some of you in my streams, I talk about them sometimes. And he's like, yo, just wait and buy in the fair value gap that has a lot of orders in it. I'm like, okay. And they're called stacks. And I started trading these little stacks on footprint charts, basically like if we were to form a fair value gap. And it was like, I would look at the footprint chart and see if there's a ton of stacked orders in it. And then if we retrace to the fair value gap, I just buy. And I do this on ES and I target like 10 to 20 points. And I had I'm not even kidding, like an 80% win rate doing this. And I'm like, and I started signaling. I'm like, bro, this is so good. I need to signal this. I started signaling my free Discord and I used to like keep stats of like how many worked and what my wins and losses were. And I remember for like 4 months straight, I had like 27 wins, 4 losses, 29 wins, 5 losses, 26 wins, 3 losses. And I used to like do that month to month and, put the stats in my Discord. And this is when I was all free. And dude, that was the most profitable I ever became, like, at that time. And I was literally just taking these stacks. I was looking these old orders. I'll show you what I would do. I would literally go to fair value gaps on NQ or on ES from like, I remember I go on like the 15-minute or the 5-minute and I look at these like little areas of like support, like way over here and see if they're stacked. And if they were, I'd literally just like place a limit of them, place my stop like a little below the stack and go for like 10 points. I didn't really understand RR at the time, but I'd go for like 10 points and that was it, right? I just kind of risked 10 points and went for 10 points. I didn't really size based off anything. I just it was all off of vibes. And that was kind of what I did. So that was kind of cool. And that's when my Discord started growing way too much. Where I was getting spammed, dude. And I'm like, okay, guys, there's people in here, they're being unprofessional, people saying inappropriate things. And I didn't really want a community of 20-year-olds. I'm not going to lie. Okay. Because to me, they were just no hate against people my age because a lot of them are immature. But my greatest hero is definitely my uncle, my Uncle Steve, great dude. And I think the biggest thing I learned from him was like when to act professional and serious versus when you can mess around in the workplace. Like that's the biggest lesson in life. I think is very important to understand. I'm still, learning that, of course, but there's guys coming in chat during market hours, spamming inappropriate words. I'm like, bro, we can do this, just not now. And that's when I'm like, dude, I do not want to target a young community. So I tried to get like an older audience. I started banning these people and, I started being more professional as I went on, like, did my alerts. And I never used to live stream. Like this would all be like, I'd literally alert in the channel and be like, hey, I'm putting a buy limit here. Like maybe like sometimes hours before we would even hit it, I'd be like, okay, I'm putting a buy limit here. We weren't even to the level yet. It took like an hour for us to hit it. And then if we hit it, I would get in. And I would say if it was like invalidated, if I was still tanking it, etc. And I do that, stop loss on my TP. And I'm like, okay, I gotta do something, or maybe go paid, or maybe make it super cheap and like focus on like more serious individuals who are a little older maybe and like really want, to make this work. And then I opened up my Patreon. And man, I'm not gonna lie to you guys. I did not open up my Patreon to make money, if that makes sense. I opened up my Patreon because I had so many unprofessional kids in my chat where I wanted like a more serious group. And I remember I did a poll. I'm like, who would pay me if I opened like up like a cheap like, group? And like probably 20, 30 people said yeah. And I'm 20 at the time. I'm like, okay, cool. I'll open up a group, be cheap, $15 a month, let's see how it goes. And I opened it up. It was a nice little community. I still have some OGs in my Discord from that community right now. Shout out to like Dirty Dingles Boys is one of them. I saw him in chat earlier. Mushy Mush is one. Who else? You got all these. There's a lot of people in my Discord now. I mean, a lot of them left by now, but some OGs still in my Discord, which is kind of cool. But they would pay me $15 a month. We kind of have our own little tight knit group, and it was cool. Okay. I was making YouTube with the videos at the time. I started making trade recaps. I was making like, oh, how to do this, how to do that. I started getting some followers on YouTube. I never had an Instagram or TikTok at the time, but I started growing on Twitter. I think I hit 10K on Twitter. And man, my socials were just growing at this point. I was making educational ICT threads, how to trade ICT. I wasn't really ever sharing the stacks I took publicly. That was kind of my own secret sauce, so I never shared those publicly. But I was making ICT threads, and I started blowing up. And this is where I'm like, okay. I started making like $200, $300 a month from Discord, right? I think my Patreon is like, oh, you're making $300 a month. I'm like, okay, interesting. I thought I was going to end up losing it and it would go back to zero because I didn't know if people would stay. And it kept going up. And then I checked one day. I'm like, okay, you're making $600 a month off Discord, right? I had this little group. It's $15 a month. I had like 50 to 60 people in it by then. And I'm like, okay, like there's no way I just keep making $600 a month. That's kind of freaking out. I'm like, this is kind of crazy. I'm making money online. People are paying me to talk to them and signal them because I was a full-on signal service. I never live streamed. I'm like, I guess I'll keep doing it. Why not? I never quit, and I still did my dishwashing job. I never quit. Like $600 was the same amount I made dishwashing, but I kind of used my Patreon as like extra income. Maybe I'll use it to get some, dinner or, I don't even know what I use the $600 on now that I think of it. I really don't think I ever, I think I'll just go to my bank and I just leave it there. I'm pretty sure. I don't even know what I did with the $600. I'm not going to lie, guys. And then I was making like $1,000 a month, $2,000 a month. And my Discord would just grow. And I eventually had like 70 people pay me $15 a month, and I started to really start popping on social media, like, and not as much as I am now, but like Twitter, I started like a 10K, I just kept going up. I'm still doing my stacks and my signal service that I'm doing, and then I made the price $35 a month. Okay, so there's a $15 option and a $35 option on Patreon. Everyone was grandfathered into the $15 option. Now it's $35 a month, and I easily went to like 2K a month at that point. And I'm like, wait a minute. Okay. I'm making this much off trading. I'm making 2K a month off Discord. And then I'm like, okay, do I really need to keep dishwashing? And I kept doing it. I kept dishwashing. I was making way more than I was dishwashing, but I kept doing it. Because I wasn't mad like when I was dishwashing. Like, I wasn't like dreading going in. Like, it was honestly fun. And I said that to you guys before. And long story short, everything kept going. Whatever. And then I made a $50 option on Patreon because I was just growing so fast, and people started paying for it. I'm like, no way, people are paying me $50 for this. And I did free unlimited one-on-ones for like $15 a month. I'd have free one-on-ones, and then I'm like, okay, I'm taking that option off. We're gonna do $35 a month, free one-on-ones. Dude, looking back at it now, imagine if I had a monthly payment for $35 and did free one-on-ones. Dude, I would not have time to do anything. I couldn't even make this YouTube video. I'd probably be in a one-on-one like literally constantly, and I could not sleep. So it's kind of crazy to me. But people started following me because I started showing payouts. I started showing I was making money and, taking these stack plays, and I started learning on Twitter, and they'd all work. And that's why I got so many followers, because I had a high win rate. And I never liked low win rate higher. I always liked the high win rate. That's why I took these stacks. I mean, they're just like so much higher probability, and it was so much better, dude. I love high win rate so much, and that's always going to be my style. But yeah, like people would see like, dude, this guy's actually got a high win rate, and that's why I got followers, right? And I'd show my payouts, I'd show me getting, making money. And at that time, I mostly traded like a live account. I never really traded prop firms. And then that's when WAP hit me up. I was like, okay, I'm gonna partner with WAP, and then I, made $100 a month option because at that point I had like 20K in Twitter. I started Instagram. I don't even think I had an Instagram at that point. I'm not gonna lie, but my YouTube had like just hit 10K subscribers, whatever. And at this point, I was making like 10K a month off Discord, and I'm like, okay, people love this. This is cool, and that's where I started making more than trading off Discord. And I never expected that to happen. Like I was just, it all started as a little community. I didn't really do it to make money. I didn't think I was going to make that money. I never thought I'd be making more than $1,000 a month on Discord. I never thought that. Like that was like not even thought in my head. Like, and that's why I still love cranking out content, no matter if people pay me or not, because I'm still just passionate at it about the end of the day compared to these new guys. They're like, oh, Dodgy's making, this much on Discord, whatever. I'm going to start making my own content and, sell a course just like he does. But the difference between me and them is I'm fucking passionate about this. Excuse my language. I am so passionate about this that like the money is cool, but like I don't do this for the money. It's fun. It's dude, like I can't explain it. Like deep down in my heart, like I love making videos, dude. I love seeing reactions. I love that, dude. Look, here's what I love, bro. Look at this. I'll show you what I love. We get on my Discord right now. Dude, I love this. Ready? Ready? Dude, I love this. Probably over $1 million of payouts here. Just of people constantly, ever since I started this channel. Constantly, every day, just thank you, Dodgy. Thank you, Dodgy. I bought a car, like literally this. All thanks to IPGs. Just bought my dream car. Mustang, right? McLaren. Like that is what like, dude, that is why I do it. Like, I don't care about the money. Like, I do, but I don't. Like, that comes. But, like, I also care about helping people when I know I have a high win rate strategy and I can change your life. And that's the difference between me and all these new guys. Like, I really have that, like, grit in my body. Like, I have that grit. If you guys know what grit means, it's just, like, the ability to, like, wanting to do something, like, really bad. And that's what I have, and that's what a lot of these new guys are missing, right? I have grit, and they don't. So, yeah. Then I got into the WAP, and that's where I started, trading inversions. Me and DC actually kind of discovered inversions together because stacks were low-key kind of doing a little mid. They did good for like a year, and then they started failing a little more. And this is when I noticed something. This is like probably late 2022. Like probably like this, probably November, December, stacks would start to fail. I would notice if we broke a stack and it was a 2022 model, we got an inverse, and I didn't really, ICT never taught me the inverse at that point. Like I didn't really see him mark it out, but I was like, wait a minute. If I just reverse the 2022 ICT model and go the other way, I'm going to make money. So I started doing that instead. I waited for the stack to break, the 2022 model to break. I'd still treat buy side and sell side liquidity the same. And that's all I do. I just wait for that to break. Boom, I was in. Bullish model failed. Boom, I'm in short. Bearish model failed. Boom, I'm in long. And me and DC kind of figured that out together. And I gate kept this for like months. I never taught it on YouTube, never taught it in my Discord. And then I started slowly kind of like showing people my Discord. I had like a little private Twitter. Little private Twitter that I had going on. It was like Dodgy_27. I remember one day I tweeted, I go, by the way, start looking at when this fair value gap gets broken through. And I did like a little shh emoji. I didn't really fully teach it yet at that point. And no one did, right? ICT didn't teach it. And that's when I think ICT started marking like little fair value gaps in his chart from like months, like from a week ago. I remember one time you're streaming, he's like, oh, look at this fair value gap from like a month ago. See how like when we break it, see what happens. We're going to now use it on the buy side of the curve. And I was like, okay, it's kind of similar to what I'm doing with the failed 2022 model. So I started backtesting that. And I remember, if I go here real quick, dude, I remember when I was backtesting that, he would mark fair value gaps like way to the left. Like, I mean, here. Like, he'd be like, oh, mark this one. And I didn't like that. Because to me, I'm like, oh, if we break something along, and it would get wrecked a lot. And I call this now in my mentorship, I call this like way too far in proximity. So I started looking at the ones that like were in the same like structure, like these ones, right? We got this one today. And that's really where I started to like run with this model. And then I started backtesting for thousands of hours. I think I easily have over 1,000 hours backtesting if I had to guess. I started putting as much into backtesting as I did in Fortnite, and I have over 1,000 hours of playing Fortnite for sure. But I'd backtest almost every day. I think I only didn't backtest like probably 2 times a week. And this is where I started experimenting with IPGs, how I can make this profitable, because stacks were not doing that well. And that's where the 80% win rate kind of comes into play with my IPG model. I find my break-even method. I'm like, okay, if this doesn't work by a certain point, we're going to go down. I'm going to get wrecked. So I kind of ran with that idea. And long story short, I just figured out the model you guys know today, or most of you, with that. And I had a high win rate at FxReplay. I never backtested FxReplay first. I think it was TradingView first, but then FxReplay came out, so I ended up switching to that because you go back way farther. And yeah, that's where I started. Like, I'm like, okay, this is legit. This is legit. So I started teaching them my Discord a little bit, whatever. And, people liked it. They were like, okay, interesting change, but they ran with it. They liked it. They supported it, and I started teaching that. And it was cool, all fun and games. And then I'm like, okay, I'm going to start teaching this on YouTube. And my first ever YouTube video I made about like inversions, okay, here's my strategy. It has an 80% win rate. Blew up. I think it was like 100K views now. And honestly, I'm surprised it doesn't have more. And then all the other influencers saw the plays I was taking on Twitter and on YouTube, because I didn't have Instagram yet. And they're like, oh, what the hell are you doing? This is bad risk reward, whatever. And slowly they would start to catch on. They're like, wait a minute. Because I posted these plays so much on Twitter that like I think some of these like influencers and traders would see them and be like, okay, whatever, like they're not learning. But then they'd go into the market the next day and like, okay, wait a minute, I just saw Dodgy post this. And I think that's really like where I indirectly taught a lot of people, because they'd see me post a chart, spam it on my feed, and then they go into the next day, looking for their own model. And then they'd see my model and they're like, wait a minute. And they started slowly using my model. Like, so many traders now use it. Like, dude, everyone, bro. Like, I'm not going to name names because I don't want any beef with anyone. They're like, oh, I didn't learn from you, bro. Every single person, I'm like the mentor of every single mentor teaching IPGs, okay? No matter who it is, okay? If I'm not the mentor of the mentor, I'm the mentor of the mentor of the mentor of the mentor. Like it all is stemmed from me, because I gatekept this for so long. I never taught it, and I finally started teaching it. Of course, everyone starts copying me, and it blew up. Dude, I see French guys on Instagram teaching it right now who probably don't even know who I am. That's how big the tree is now. People trading inversions the way I teach. Okay. And, people obviously started like making their own inversion model, but it was still my model at the end of the day. And then you just give it some dumbass name. And, they're like, oh yeah, this is the whatever model, I'm not going to name any of them, but there's a lot of like made up names for my model now. It's like, oh, this is whatever this, but like I taught all that, like taking inversions into like off SMTs, into unbalanced for value gaps. It's all ICT at the end of the day. And that's why I credit, and I'll never not credit ICT, but yeah, that's kind of how I started. I'm like, okay, I like high win rate, low RR, that was kind of my vibe. And here's the thing. When you're trading my strategy, I realized that even though I had lower R some trades, I'm like, okay, if I have the higher time frame bias, I can just make my RR way bigger. So that's what I like about high win rate, because it doesn't always have to be lower R. You can go for higher R, just depends on the day. Most of the time it will be lower R, but there's days where there will be like a target to like a 3 or 4 R target. You know what I'm saying? So like that's super important to understand, okay? And yeah, everything blew up. I started Instagram and TikTok. I hired these growth operator guys because like, yo, we're gonna scale your Discord to this much a month, and that to me was like, they're like, oh, I think my Discord was making like 20K a month at that point, and they're like, oh, we're gonna scale your Discord, and then full transparency purposes, I think I started making like 50K off Discord a month, and at this point, I'm like, I was probably only making like 10K a month, I think. I don't really know. I got a bunch of payouts with Apex, whatever, copy trading. I started doing prop firms. And at this point, I was blowing up faster than I was sizing up and trading. And I think this is what went wrong, and this is why some people hate on me, because they hated me because like, oh, you make more off of Discord than trading. But bro, like I didn't do it on purpose. Like I just blew up more than I could size up. Now, obviously, when I'm like 30, I'm gonna probably be risking at least 100K per trade, but I'm still only 23, still got a lot of time, and obviously I'm not 30 yet, right? And I need to build that emotional, you know, wall when I'm in a trade, which I still don't have yet. Now, obviously, I can risk like 1,000, 2,000 a trade, or I've risked like 5,000 in a trade, and whatever, cool. But if I risk 100K in a trade, yeah, I can't. I'm not gonna be. I'm gonna be very emotional. So yeah, like that's really my story. Pretty much. I mean, and now I have obviously the Discord community. I have like a mentorship. I'm starting to focus on a little bit, and like, dude, I never thought that I'd be making this much money. I never thought that. I ended up getting a Lamborghini, a G-Wagon, and I get thousands of testimonials every single month. It's just, I never thought I'd get this far. And honestly, the job's not done yet. I'm still growing. I'm still posting content. I love doing this. I'm super passionate about it. And yeah, I just, I've literally, dude, I've literally had girl problems for like a year. And dude, I've probably told my Discord and live streams about these random girl problems, and they're all answering me. Like, these people in my live stream are my family, bro. Like, it's crazy. Like, the amount of connections I've built. I've met people helping me with business advice. It's crazy how many people I've met, and I could not be more grateful. And that was part of the reason I started too, because I knew I can meet people, network with people, and some of my best friends I met are all in Discord. Now, for those wondering, like, how did my family react? How did my mom react? How did my friends react? It was all kind of a slower reaction where, like, I started making like $1,000 a month trading. And I was like, Mom, I don't need to work this dishwasher job. And she wouldn't let me quit my job. And I didn't really mind because I liked working it, whatever. And then I kind of just stuck with it. And then I was like, okay, Mom, I'm making 5K a month right now. And she's like, she thought it was like a scam, pretty much. And my dad's like, oh, go to college, get a degree, whatever. And I ended up going to college. I got my cybersecurity degree. I didn't really need to go to college, but, I wasn't making like a salary yet off trading, which is why I went. So I needed a backup plan. And my dad was like, I remember my first, I think I made like 50K in like, I don't even know, maybe 10 months. And I'm like, Dad, I just made this much money in 10 months. And he's like, oh, that'll probably not last. Go get a job, whatever. And dude, I'm like, Dad, you don't understand, bro. Like, I know how the algorithm works in the market. Like, I can teach this, and I also can make money trading it. You just oblivious. Like, you didn't understand it. And that was kind of that. It's not really a funny story. It's not really like a story where it's like, oh, my parents didn't believe in me. They just thought it was like kind of a scam, and they didn't really say much about it. And now, obviously, I've definitely helped them out. I've definitely I got, I've bought in them some stuff that really helped them out. Like, I remember I bought my mom like this like $700 like vacuum thing for Christmas. She loves it, and like just having the freedom to just do that is cool. My parents were never rich. We were always like middle class. Like, we weren't middle upper class, but we weren't middle lower class. We were like middle class, which was nice. But they never gave me any handouts. They always made me work for what I did. I went to church my whole life, and I'm just uh, I'm a pretty wholesome guy. Like, I haven't talked to that many girls in my life. Like, I've only ever dated one girl, and it was really like it was in eighth grade. It was like for 2 months, and it wasn't really even dating her. Like, I think the most I did was hug her, whatever. But um, yeah, dude, like I've come a long way from where I started, and like I never thought I'd blow up. I never thought I'd get this many followers. I never thought I would do this well, and obviously I was called up to a topstep live account the other day. Obviously, if I was unprofitable, that's just impossible. So, getting achievements like that, being able to hang stuff like that on my wall, it always cringes me out when people hang up their like eval certificates on the wall. Like, I get it, but like, dude, come on, it's an eval. Like, if it's like a live account, like, okay, I get called to a live account, that's cool. That's very different. Like, top 0.0001% of people can do that. If it's like a payout, even a payout's a little cringe because a payout doesn't mean you're profitable. But yeah, man, that's pretty much my story. Obviously, I've tried teaching my friends. They just don't have the ambition. Like, they're like, oh, Ryan, teach me. They obviously see my Lamborghini. And I have motivated some of them, but they all start and then stop after like 2 weeks. It's all the same thing. Like, the only way you're going to make it is if you're passionate about it. Like the only reason I made it in trading is because I was passionate about it. The only reason I still make YouTube videos and do content creation, you know, is because I'm passionate about it. I've actually, want to hear something crazy? My like sales and everything have actually gone down. Like I've lost probably over 20K a month on like sales and other stuff in the last like 6 months. And dude, I didn't give a shit because I'm passionate about making content. I didn't do it for the money. And like, dude, imagine if one of you were like making like 50K a month in Discord and all of a sudden you're losing like 50% of the income. That's basically what happened to me, dude. Because people join my streams and, you know, somehow think I'm a scammer or something because I stopped being a signal service. Because remember I said I used to be a signal service? No one would ever leave my Discord because I would alert everything and I'd have a high win rate. Now I really try to like keep it like low key and I try to like not be signal service because I realize most people that fail are signal bots and they only rely on signals. And that's why I used to fail. So like, yeah, that's, dude, imagine if you lost so much money, dude. You'd be like, yeah, I'm not making YouTube videos more. I'm not doing this. Dude, I'm just passionate about making this. If I did this for free, which I do this for free, I'd still do it. If I wasn't making any money off this, I'd still do it. I made Fortnite videos for 2 years, didn't get paid a single dime. I did not get paid a single dime because I like doing it. And that's the real secret to doing well in life. That's the real secret to my success. It's a real secret to me being happy. Like, dude, I'm just passionate about stuff. And I think my greatest attribute in my life is learning to love something that I may not have liked before. I started the dishwasher as if the first day there, I'm like, wow, this sucks. I learned to love it. And I did love it. Okay. I learned to love things, right? I hated English class in school. I learned to love English. I always loved math in school, so I can't use that example. I like calculus, like all that stuff. But like I would learn to love things, and like that was one of the greatest things, and that still is one of the greatest things that keeps me going. Obviously, I've had some like down periods where, you know, I lost this girl that I really liked, obviously, and it's whatever. But like I've had down periods that like have just sucked. But like, here's the thing: all those down periods, it's like it's whatever. My source of happiness is literally within me. It has nothing to do with anyone. It's not based on anyone. Like I'm happy with me no matter what, right? And that's like that's the reason I'm so successful. Like, so yeah, any of you guys are lost, I mean, that's really it, dude. That's really my journey. That's why I'm happy. I really don't have much to say, but keep grinding, bro, because I never knew I was gonna blow up. I never knew I was gonna start making money in all these other ways. I literally just gave out like a $250,000 loan the other day. Like, dude, imagine if I knew I was gonna do that when I was 20. I'd be like, what? I gave out a $225,000 loan. I did what? Like, I wouldn't believe myself. Okay. And yeah, dude. Thanks to me backtesting my strategy for thousands of hours, you guys honestly don't have the backtest. I mean, obviously it's a good idea too, but I giving you a proper strategy, it's probably never gonna stop working, and if it does, I'll adapt and find something else. I feel like the biggest thing ICT taught me, and I think the biggest thing that my experience taught me, that adapt. You have to adapt. Like whether it's changing the bias in the middle of the day and adapting to the bias, or whether it's this business sucks right now, I'm going to do this other business. Like, you just have to adapt and you have to find a way. And that's the biggest piece of advice I have in terms of like mindset and, finding some way to make it. Like, I always knew I'd make it. I had to find a way. There's like Lightning McQueen says, there's no, right? In Cars 3, right? The girl asked him, like, how did you think you could, do this well? And he's like, well, I never thought I couldn't. Right. And that's, one of my favorite quotes. And another favorite quote of mine is, work hard enough so you don't have to introduce yourself. And I feel like I still haven't got there yet. Like, obviously I've been recognized in public, like a lot, probably easily like 20, 30 times now, which is kind of cool. But like, man, some of these guys like TJR, like he's big, and whether you think he's a scam or not, doesn't matter. The thing is, like, he grew his brand. He is 90% of the people like him. 10% of people don't like him. He doesn't care if you don't like him or not. He doesn't care if you think he's a scam or not. But his brand and everything he grew is just incredible to see. And, it's just amazing what he does. And, some of these other guys, Umar grew pretty big. Umar is big in the space. And, last thing I'm gonna leave you off with is never like look up to anyone, like never copy what someone's doing, but you can always have an inspiration. Like the only person I look up to is myself. Okay. I really just look up to myself. And like I never like copy anyone. Like I'll take ideas from people, but like every idea of mine is usually original. It's usually my own, right? If someone's close with me or someone's in my space and they did something and they did a good idea, well then yeah, maybe I'll copy that. But like a lot of stuff I do, a lot of the videos I make, all original, just kind of off the top of my head. What can I do to help people? That's really my main, my main goal. So yeah, so now we're here. I'm in Fort Lauderdale. I'm living on the 25th floor. Okay, it's considered a penthouse, but it's not really. I'm just in a single bedroom apartment. It's obviously cool. You can see my setup. I've started learning guitar because I got really bored. I golf a lot. I'm a 9 handicap right now, even though I'm probably like a 12 because I've only golfed once in the past 3 weeks. And yeah, dude, like it's pretty much my story. So if you subscribe, thanks for sticking around. If you don't subscribe, you're gonna see me at some point in your life because I will keep blowing up. I will keep getting followers, and I will keep growing my channel because I'm like how passionate I am. So if you don't subscribe now, you'll likely see me down the road. And that's pretty much it for now. I'll see you guys in the next one. For anyone wanting to learn how I trade, I'm not gonna promote that. If you have a smart enough IQ or you're high enough IQ, you can probably go find that yourself because this video isn't to sell anything. But yeah, that's pretty much it. I'll see you guys in the next one. Thank you for the support. Make sure to subscribe with post notifications on if you think I'm interesting. If not, just block me, never talk to me again. And yeah, I'll see you guys later. Peace.